Lord, we thank you for this beautiful day that you blessed us with. We thank you for each one here, Lord, and ask a blessing on them and their families. We thank you for your goodness to us, Lord, and thank you for the light of the rain that you sent. We ask you to be with us as we go about the county's business tonight. We ask you to provide us wisdom to make the decisions in life that will please you. I ask you to go with us, lead and guide and direct us, Lord. Forgive us where we failed. Amen.
Amen.
Minutes for last meeting, I got a motion.
Second.
You're correct.
First, you need approval.
Yes, we do. I approve the minute. I thought you were motioning if you already had it. That's okay.
Any corrections or revisions? All those for?
Yeah.
Against? Treasurer's report.
Okay, end of March, county general government, $1,809,613. County road, main fund, $1,280,673. Sales tax road, $956,878. Additional motor fuel, $113,789. Total for all 2.45 million, basically. And total funds under my responsibility at the end of March, $10,387,303. Total funds as of today, $10,770,359, almost $400,000 difference. No revenue for FEMA for March. Sales tax receipted in March, $124,328, which is up about $8,900 compared to March of 2022. The jail bond sales tax, $44,984, which was at $3,228 over March of last year. Sales and use tax revenue for the jail, year-to-date total $141,917, and sales tax in general $392,235. You got something?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All is for? Aye. Against? Assessors report.
Did $1.9 million with the building permits last month, and the cities with $280,000 permits. Tax bills went out, I guess, this week, so we're gonna be super busy next week.
Amen.
People's been really bad, they've been plans. Anyway, anybody have any questions?
Motion. Second.
Discussion. All is for?
Aye.
Against? Collectors report, please.
Taxes collected in March, $219,845.39. Delinquent personal, $45,203.65. Delinquent real estate, $47,389.04. Total collected, $312,438.08. And that includes online and over-the-counter charge cards. total online payments going through the website was $11,972.89. Any questions?
One, do you have a comparison to last year for the same for March?
No, but would you like me to start doing that?
Just to see. if it-
Okay, I can do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Motion,
Question. All is for? Against? OEM report.
The only thing I'd like to add in light of the report already submitted is that we submitted our EMPG project after we completed that, the tornado tabletop. It was returned to us with one finding. We corrected that, sent it back, they've approved it, and we met all the requirements for the EMPG project for this year. And we started our move to the new facility yesterday. As of today at 4:30, we get all our equipment over there. We get Delcat coming tomorrow to run the phone lines and the computer lines. We should be totally up and running out of that office, hopefully by the end of business tomorrow. And we've made the necessary notifications on the county's website. And we have created a Facebook page for the Office of Emergency Management for Marion County, which is similar to the other counties that surround us. We'll put kind of double the information that we put up. But we're also putting other information on there for disaster preparedness and crime prevention, fire prevention, all those kinds of things to our residents. So we have now that page has been up and running for about a week. Does anyone have any questions? I might be able to answer. Yes, sir.
Where's your office now?
At the old sheriff's office, well, where the office is now is at the court annex, but now it's in the old sheriff's office building. So myself.
Where 911 supposed to be.
That's before my time. I know 911 is still out of the sheriff's office, but I know that we're going to create an emergency operations center there. And we have the sign and mapping of GIS, young lady, Miss Penn, works out of my office or out of that office. And I understand from the judge Quorum is going to be going over there too. The back of the old jail.
Initially, was supposed to.
I
Over there.
assume he is because they're putting in a cooler, very good cooler, unless we're getting into the meat business. I suspect that's probably something other than. Thank you.
motion,
Discussion. All is for? Against? E911 report.
For the month of March, we had 459 calls, 244 911 calls, 215 landline calls. This last month, I submitted and completed our MFP staff audit to continue to receive our funding. And I know that we not want call taking system, but as of last week, I think it was it, we activated and went online with the new system. So we've been operating with the last week, and it is amazing the things that system can do. So our call response time is at 2 seconds. Dispatch times are not faster. I welcome you all to come and check it out. Any questions?
motion,
Second.
Discussion. All is for?
Aye.
Against? Grant report.
We completed, one of our reports for the local assistance travel consistency fund, the LATC. And since that has been done, we will be getting another $299,505. Not sure when that is to arrive, but it will be. We have American Rescue reports. It's due April 30th to the map. And I've been trying to track how much money in ARPA funds that we've been obligated to, because we have to have that for a certain period of time. And it looks like we have obligated ourselves to $2,418,590.90. We probably will need an additional 50,000 set aside of that money just for auditing purposes. And then we're applying for a court security grant in the amount of 20,000. We will be getting Kevlar for the courtroom, judge and witness box, all these areas in the courthouse and the annex building, tint for the windows, retint it for safety reasons. And we're getting different ladders for this floor for emergency exits.
I have a question, Judge. This 2.4 million ARPA money, does that include what we are going to discuss tonight?
The 500, yes, it includes that amount in that.
Okay. Can you tell me how much is left over?
Of the 500,
No. Well, either one. How much is left over in ARPA?
that downstairs. Yeah, I brought it. Oh, here it is. Stuck it in my. If you approve what they're asking for this evening, of the 500,000, about 187,790 would be appropriated, leaving a balance of 312,210 to apply.
How much is overall at the ARPA money? Not counting the 500,000.
In what we have now in the big pool.
Mhm.
So out of the $3,242,614, that was the total, we have obligated to do $2,418,590.
Okay.
So that left with a remaining balance of $824,023.10.
Thank you.
Motion. Any discussion? All for? Against? Law enforcement.
I'll go over the detention center first. Detention center, currently we have 64 inmates incarcerated. Served full collections, collected $10,662. Circuit court restitutions, $17,405. District court collections was $11,430. We had 56 warrants come in. One of them were cash only, 5 of them were no bond, and 30 of them were cash with pro. We had 79 hours and 26 minutes approximately of transport time. We had to run to Dallas, Texas to pick up an inmate, actually picked up 2 inmates. So that's one of the reasons there's so much time there. The jail, that was the jail. We had 62 bookings. The males, we had 40, females were 22. One of them came in from the state police, 2 from the city of Little Shoals, 3 from Flippin, and the Marion County Sheriff's Office was 51. And apparently, the county currently has 82 sex offenders listed on the list. An average population in the jail of 66. The highest that we had incarcerated was 69. Go down through there, you'll see that number of meals served was 5,430. An average cost of the meal was $1.43. And if you remember from last month, it was, I believe, $1.56. So we cut the but the price come down on this month. We're trying to get it under control, under the budget, to be able to operate under the budget. Sheriff's Office, total miles driven for the employees were 17,839. Number of gallons of fuel was 1,085. Having miles per gallon approximate is 16.44. The Metro Division drove approximately 4,394 miles, used approximately 348 gallons, and their miles per gallon was down because it is in the city. So they're averaging 12.62 miles per gallon.
Have you received a new vehicle?
No, when I called and said we could order, they said it would be between 8 and 10 weeks.
You know, at one of the meetings, we talked about leasing vehicles, and I thought we're bringing the city of Harrison and look at that.
You said that there's 64 inmates?
That's correct.
Okay, the report says 331.23, there was 90, that's a big difference.
Yes, the first report that was sent out was my fault. I had miscalculated. I believe it said inmates was total of 90. After I re-added.
Okay, that's fine.
Yes, you're exactly right.
And then the last question I have is the Department of Corrections current on paying their invoices?
Oh, yes.
Okay, that's it.
Thank you.
Motion.
Any discussion? All those for? Against? Library. Fair board.
Question.
Sir?
The library.
Yes.
It evidently is going through some extensive remodeling.
This is construction.
Yeah, who's paying that?
I believe that comes out of the library. But I can check with this data Scott and get an answer for you.
Do we have a resignation at the library board?
We had I'll go to the appointments at the end of the meeting.
Okay, I heard there was resignations, but I don't know that I ever got an official word.
Okay.
Resignation.
All right, yes, that happened.
Okay.
First, we had 87 roads this last month. We're gonna brush hog the site on them. A lot of pothole mix patching going on right now because of all the washouts and everything. Cold core, a lot of culverts that backed up, and when they get backed up, it just creates a flooding issue for some of the low water areas. Ditch line work, we're playing catch up right now with ditch line because we're trying to get through and make things passable. So some of the ditches will have some overflow of base in there. Bear with us. We're gonna get that cleaned out. We're trying to keep things. 421 dump truck load of base and 4 inches this month so far. Any questions? Motion.
Motion.
Discussion. All those for?
Aye.
Against? Core report, 540 man hours, 16 days work. They went through and got their CPR training and their IMSA training this past week. So they're all certified and good to go on that. Total tonnage crushed, 7,917. Total tonnage out this month, 8,607. Any questions?
What's this Martin thing in here? Only question stuff for Martin.
Correct, with the margins do and we crushed basically, yes. Burn agreement from many years ago. Need a motion?
Motion.
Discussion. All those for? Against? Solid waste, Traffic count this month, 2180, year-to-date 6,006. 70.82 tons into the landfill, year-to-date 208.56 tons. Of the OCC, we got 21.85 tons, year-to-date 67.05. Metal 7.88 tons, year-to-date 20.02. I don't know if you guys are keeping up with what's going on down Little Rock. We had a tire bill that was presented by Senator Payton that was going to keep things within the state and the government of being taken care of. Representative Pike wanted to be privatized. That one didn't make the floor. Senator Payton's made the floor in the Senate. It passed. When it got to the House, the ADEQ and Governor Sanders had some differences on opinion on what they wanted to have done. So it had been pretty much gutted and rebuilt, passed through the House. What they're going to do is split up the counties in Arkansas into 18 to 19 counties per quadrant. And in that quadrant of those counties, there'll be a board of 11 people. 7 of that will be county judges, starting with the class 7 counties and working their way down. And the other 4 will be mayors of the largest counties or the largest cities in those counties. So I will not have a spot on that board, but I trust that they'll do as well. And the only part that they gutted when they gutted the amendment bill is that the larger tires of semi trucks and or tractors will be privatized, but this group and these quadrants will find a way for those to go for us. So it doesn't directly affect us financially, which I'm happy about, but it'll still be something else deciding where our tires go. Any questions? Any motion?
Motion.
Any discussion?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Where we at the repairs to the transfer station?
Right now, I'm still dealing with the original company that built. We're getting work from them with the forensic auditor, and then we'll be contacting insurance companies. So as of right now, nothing on our end has to be taken care of. Still in that process. All those for? Aye. Against? Fire chief report.
I believe did y'all get one, or I think Dawn told me they sent it in late. Looks like they had 219 calls from the 14th department, so I apologize for not getting it in the timely manner. It will be addressed. Don't have any questions?
Secretary, all the fire departments are just,
No, everybody sends it in. Our current our president of our Fire Chiefs Association is Brian Roberts from Fairview.
okay.
And he handles, they submit all their run reports to him and they send it in, and for whatever reason, it didn't get sent in the proper time, so.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry.
Any discussion? All those for? Against? Anything from the planning commission?
Nothing to report it.
Budget committee.
The budget committee met in March the 30th, and then the minutes are in my packet. Basically, the ordinances that are presented tonight went through the budget committee, and so it's gonna be voting on those. We don't have the next meeting for the vote.
Any motion?
Motion.
Second. Any discussion? All those for? Against? Personnel.
We have the minutes posted here. We have. So, Mr. White, Mr. Hall. We, in attendance. These items will be coming up for vote.
Need a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those for? Against? I don't believe the law enforcement can do that.
No, they,
I don't believe solid waste met, correct? Procedures and management committee.
As written.
Motion. Any discussion? All those for? Against? We need old business that I don't have in my folder. Just a here.
I was wondering that several members of the Quorum Court have asked to review your veto,
You okay?
and I think that should go under old business.
All right. Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion to revisit the, I guess it would be 2023-28, which was the ordinance that we have.
Yes, sir.
I think that motion.
Discussion. Yes, ma'am.
I asked Dawn to give us a copy of the written notice, each JP to receive the notice for the veto. And I understand this is the law. Notification of veto upon filing of the written notification of veto by the county judge. The county clerk shall immediately provide written notification to each member of the Quorum Court. And as I believe we're all aware, that did not happen.
Yes.
So I asked her to give us the notice of your veto. Is that what this is?
Yes.
Thank you.
And I did discuss with the county clerk, and going forward the next day, things will be scanned and sent out immediately after the sign.
After you vetoed?
Veto and sign, correct, yeah. I'm saying if there would be a veto in the future, it would be known the next month. Yes, sir.
But it doesn't have to be mailed to me. It could be emailed. I would be fine with that.
Okay.
I just didn't know that it had been vetoed until I read the minutes. The law is to, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to pretend to interpret the law. It's my understanding that it's written to give people the opportunity to override the veto. And I understand we make mistakes or whatever, but we really weren't provided an opportunity. I talked to Mr. Russo and he said that it could be handled at the next meeting.
Okay.
But I kind of feel like I should have been made aware immediately, because I probably would have handled it differently. Probably would have had a special meeting and then voted then to overturn the veto.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, you
Well,
can.
they do it all the
The
time.
JPs would have voted to have a special meeting to override the veto.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, nowhere does it say the JPs. They're given notice of the veto and the explanation of why it was rejected.
Right.
That's supposed to come up as the first order of business at this meeting. I'm disturbed that I just got this today. I heard about your email and I went email and started looking at it. And I went and looked at the law for vetoing and the procedure is to give us the opportunity to read it and now come up here and either override the veto or not. I think that should be discussed right now. That's what the law says.
Yes.
That's what it's very clear at the next meeting. This is the next meeting.
That's what's not clear.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Excuse me, what's on the floor now?
The motion to revisit this ordinance, which would effectively, if we vote in favor of it, would override the veto.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
The only thing else that I have to say is that I'm in favor of what we did here. And I don't want to air out what I would refer to as dirty laundry. But essentially what has happened from my perspective is employees were terminated, to my knowledge, without a reason, and then they were brought back. But by bringing them back without this ordinance, they had been employed for 8 or 10 years. They had accrued 3 or 4 weeks of vacation, and without this ordinance, they're reset. And they've lost their seniority, tenure, seniority. And this ordinance would effectively give them their seniority back. And I guess that the reason that I'm in favor of this is because I don't believe that that's a fair way to treat somebody that's worked for the county for 10 years. So I would like for this to be overturned.
That is also why in January, when I proposed it the first time, I did it to match the AAC's personnel policy that would affect everyone in the group response, speaking of plus 400 employees, people fair. So that's why I brought it to the personnel committee in January. It was changed from the 6 months to 60 days, and it was stated no retro in that personnel committee meeting. And that was voted on in February. I signed off on it because even though it didn't help the ones that were there now, it was fair going forward across the board, and a good step for our county to take to keep things fair on all level. And then in March, on the day of the Quorum Court meeting, I got another amendment on my desk at noon that did not go ahead with the personnel committee. It just showed up for Quorum Court. It was the same personnel policy that was just amended the month before. It had already been changed in 4 weeks, saying that they want to now go back 60 days to 90 days and retro back to the 1st of January. So in my eyes, and it took apart the discretion of the supervisor elected official. I believe there should be discretion there because it is their employees. We should not take the discretion away from the supervisor or elected official. And it would only help just 2 employees and not the whole. I did not want to sign off on amending a personnel policy that just helps 2 county employees, not everybody at the same time. So that's why I think.
I appreciate that. And I would like to rebuttal.
Yes.
It's a bold word to use fair when it's my understanding that the employees were terminated for no reason after being told that they wouldn't be terminated. Then they were brought back, but for less pay and with no benefits. So the way that I would run the county is the way that I would run my household. And if you're good enough to be my wife, you're good enough to be with me. I don't need to punish somebody, bring them back at less pay. It's an insult. I don't treat people that way. I would like for this to pass. And if we gave you discretion, we would be asking the same person who followed them for no cause, brought them back at less pay without benefits to make the discretion to get their benefits back. And your discretion was off, in my opinion. So I don't really want you to have the discretion. I just want them to be treated fairly.
I understand that takes the discretion away from all other supervisors and elected officials as well, even though this one's about me right now.
And
And termination is like I said, if you weren't fair, they weren't terminated, they were just not retained. And when I brought them back, I did it at the exact way our policy stated in our handbook at the time. So it wasn't a personal decision, it was what the county already had in stone. And that's why I came in January to amend it to match the AAC personnel policy.
I respect that you stand by your decision. We'll disagree on definitions. If I were in a position to vote on this, which I am, I would vote that if you're good enough to work for the county, you're good enough to have your benefits. And if you're not good enough to work for the county, you can go home.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
if I understand this correctly, let me sure, but you were looking at, forward 90 days, and we're not looking at revising to 60 days.
No, sir.
No?
It was passed at 60 with no retro in February.
Okay,
And now they're asking for it to be 90 days with retro. And taking the discretion of the supervisor or elected official in his or her department, not just my department, it would be a personnel policy countywide.
this would have changed it to 60, but if this passed, it'll be 60 versus 90.
No,
No?
It's currently 60. This makes it 9.
it was passed in February at 60.
Oh, I see it, okay. Sorry. Yeah, I see.
And it takes discretion away from the elected official or supervisor or his or her employees.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
To clarify, taking away the discretion, the elected official has the discretion whether to rehire or not. You're not talking about losing any power here. You're talking about firing somebody and then rehiring and say, well, I'll give you your job back, but it's going to be without your benefits. Why would we do that? Just don't hire them back.
May I rebuttal?
Sure.
it would be like, let's say it wasn't a firing, it was a mutual decision. They thought that their cousin Tommy, who owns an excavating business, is a better opportunity. So they go and do that for 3-4 weeks, 2 months, and go, you know what, it's not for me. So it wasn't a bad split in the county. They've been here for 10 years, and they come back and get hired back in discretion against you telling, or not you, but the employee saying, you know what, I'm done with this, Mr. Stone, kick rocks. And then 3 months later, come back and go, you know what, sir, I apologize, I shouldn't have said that, I was wrong to leave, but I don't have to give them back their 10-year or whatever the elected official would be. If the split was bad, you can still rehire them, but not put them back in their seniority versus someone that thought they had a better opportunity and come back.
Probably never gonna see eye to eye, but if someone told me to kick rocks and then they apologized and came back and wanted to work for me, I would say that your actions have consequences and you will wait 91 days and I will give you your job back and you will lose benefits.
Yes, sir.
Hey, please, court. Yes. I was asked to interpret personnel policy, and everything at issue here boils down to personnel policy. The way the personnel policy is currently written, technically, at the end of the elected official's term, all employees have to be rehired. That's the way the policy is written. The problem in this instance for 2 employees is when their employment is terminated, they were paid benefits contrary to the personnel policy of Marion County. They were paid out all their sick, all their vacation. When the county judge asked my legal opinion based upon the personnel policy says they come back as an employee. His question was, can we bring them back and then keep their seniority? The only way I could see that occurring is if they were willing to repay all the benefits that they were paid contrary to the established personnel policy that was adopted by Ordinance. So from my perspective, they have 2 choices. They could pay back all the benefits. He could have had the discretion to bring back to seniority, or they don't pay back the benefits and they start over as an employee. That was my legal opinion based on the ordinance that you all have written, and I explained it that way.
I've read our personnel policy. Our personnel policy also says, when in regards to being let go at the end of the year, it says that all employees can expect to be rehired unless there's just cause for termination. Our personnel policy also says that if you file a grievance, you are no longer fired and you are suspended with pay. So one of the employees was never even fired.
But he was paid benefits, he should not have been paid.
We're not talking about giving him days that he had back. We're talking about his seniority. So he's going to have to work a full year to have 1 week of vacation. He was never fired. We essentially said, you lose your vacation. You never, we have personnel policy that gives them the vacation. But then on one employee, we just took away from him. Do we have a policy that allows us to do that?
That's the policy you're going to have to fix.
Right, but we have a policy where he pays his days out or doesn't pay his days out. But we essentially have an employee who's working for the county, who has always worked for the county, who has earned vacation, that has now lost his vacation. And our policy says that.
Absolutely correct.
Right, so I mean, I don't guess I understand how we're in the right here. Looks to me like we're still wrong.
Well, the policy needs to be fixed, and or the Quorum Court needs to make a decision, even if it's just in this one case, that you let them keep the benefits contrary to all the other county employees, and they also get the seniority, or they pay the benefits back, and they get all their seniority. But the way the policy is written right now, I didn't write it, I'm just interpreting what was out there.
I've made my decision. I would like for this to pass so they get their seniority back.
Discussion.
Yes, sir.
Ordinance 2328, that's what we voted on, right?
Yes, sir.
So what is going to change from last month? If it goes forward tonight, it's going to be back on the judge's desk with the same concerns. We're not overriding the veto. That wasn't the motion. The motion was to vote on this ordinance.
This ordinance is the ordinance that's vetoed.
Yeah.
This is the ordinance that's vetoed. I could clarify my motion if that's what it needs, but my motion is to
override here.
Right, it essentially, I guess I said that it's to revisit this ordinance, but maybe I should correct that, it's to override.
Okay, thank you.
I will, is that okay with who seconded it? I will change my motion to override.
Any further discussion? Justice Scrimmett?
Yes.
Justice Nichols?
Yes.
Justice Fairclough?
Yes.
Justice White?
Yes.
Justice Reed?
No.
Justice McCutcheon?
No.
Justice Shipman?
Yes.
Justice Brigham?
Yes.
Justice McCullough?
Yes.
Motion passed. Thank you.
One of their old business, kind of old business.
Yes, sir.
According to the Metro contract, they put their meeting and took in March and September. They put off their meeting until, a week from now. So that's to be brought up. They need to get one of the JPs of the Metro.
Make a motion for Mr. White to be put on the Metro Board as the representative for the Quorum Court as defined in the contract.
I'll second that.
Anybody else want?
How long have you been doing this thing?
Oh, I don't want to, let's go after these guys.
That's the discussion on this.
Yes.
I emailed the recording of the last Metro meeting to some people. I texted you guys. I don't know if you got it. You did? Okay. I was wrong. I said that the mayor said, I don't remember what I said, something about he didn't care, whatever. But actually what he said was the contract says that the Metro can be used wherever they want. So I'll take his word for it, that the Metro people can be sent up there. If you watch the video, the whole video in its entirety, I would encourage everybody to do that. And you can see how the Quorum Court members that showed up were treated. I think that would be healthy for everybody who thinks that we may have something against the sheriff's office. We walked to the sheriff the whole time and we were met with, and just use your own discretion.
Any further discussion? On the motion to be the Metro representative of the meeting. Justice Nichols?
Yes.
Justice Fairclough?
Yes.
Justice White?
Yes.
Justice Reed?
Yes.
Justice Hutchins?
Yes.
Justice Shipman?
Yes.
Justice Brigham?
Yes.
Justice McCullough?
Yeah.
Justice Scrimmett?
Yes.
New business, Ordinance for the 2022 30. Regarding the post office and the rate increase.
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules to read by title only.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. This ordinance is the measure of unlawful budget for the office of the Marion County County and Circuit Clerk and the compensation ordinance 2298. Basically, what I'm asking for is that I will lower the county general portion of my budget. I only have one clerk paid out of my budget. I'll take all of my salary out of the corporate budget to the budget of my firm. I will take transfer money from the corporate budget into the general for the enormous money that I will be paying this year. And I included my job description, and I included a spreadsheet of what I had in county for county general.
We have reduced my budget by $229,824.10 since 2017. We have raised my budget in the reporter's fund to cover some of these expenses, and at the end of the letter that I included with that, I think that what I've done to help county general over the years, I'm going to continue to do that, and therefore I wish that you would pass this budget, or this ordinance.
Yes, ma'am.
While I appreciate everything that, that the clerk has done and is willing to do, I reference the minutes from the Personnel Committee where it says the committee did not approve this ordinance. However, Ms. Moffitt intends to present the ordinance to the Budget Committee. So I have a couple of comments to make in regards to this. One, does the Budget Committee trump the Personnel Committee? It appears to me that this is like, oh, mom says no, so I'm gonna go to daddy and see if I can't get it passed that way. I think we need to have in my opinion, all committees are important and they should all be equal. And if the one committee says no, we should not take it to another committee to get their approval. Now, you can make the argument that we just took it and the Budget Committee felt like it needed to go before the whole court. But as one of the JPs who's no longer on the court, opinion was every single time if that goes through the committee, then it must be okay to do. So again, I appreciate the fact that you're trying to delete county general and use less money, but I think the Personnel Committee said no.
Well, may I address that on what I did? Okay. I wasn't sure if this needed to go in front of the personnel or in front of budget. It kind of, it used to be combined, so I'm still trying to work that out in my head. So I could not attend the personnel meeting, but I wanted this to be in front of some committee to begin the process.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if we have written rules, but I was under the understanding that before an ordinance would go in front of the Quorum Court, that it would be approved to go in front of the Quorum Court through the committee.
That's why it's in the committee first.
Correct. So if it goes to the committee and the committee says no, and it still goes to the Quorum Court, then we should dissolve all committees.
So we're just taking the time here now to go through the same things in the committee.
Right. Yeah, and moving forward, we should probably all understand that. I'm not sure. I didn't know that we didn't all understand that, but we should probably establish.
Yes, sir.
In the state, bills are introduced by the sponsor and they're assigned to a committee. And the committee who hold meetings are those that are for it speak, those that are against it speak. And that committee either approves it or doesn't approve it. If it's not approved, it doesn't go for a vote. In here, we could.
It doesn't matter.
Well, I could argue that I'll say several years ago, there was some extra money in the, I thought it was in the transfer station where the employees, I thought were given a $5,000 increase. So those departments, I'm opposed to using special automated funds for salaries. Automatically, unless you're going to automate that department. So,
Yes, sir.
I wouldn't call the question, but there is no question at all.
But wait, first of all, it's not an automated fund. I don't have
We
enough.
have not made a
that's
motion.
right.
Point of order. We have no motion on the floor. We are discussing an ordinance that has not even
Let's get a
been.
motion for the discussion.
Right. At some point, it could, if there's no motion, we can move on.
Correct. We don't have a motion.
May I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Which committee do I take this to? I mean, like I said, Still trying to wrap my brain around not having personnel in the budget committee being the same committee. So I would like to know which committee I need to take this to have it addressed.
As I don't have a say in the committees, but I would suggest that you take this to the budget committee because of the money. But I do believe we need a precedent in your board that if it does not make it to the committee, it does not.
I think a good rule would probably be, we're probably all a little wrong here. One committee sponsors it, should probably put it in front of the court. The fact that one didn't and one did is what's causing confusion here. I personally don't see the problem. She had the sponsors. It's here. We can address whether we have to have two committees later, but we're discussing something else.
But if we don't have a motion, then we need to move forward to
Correct.
the next ordinance. Correct.
Okay. Okay, ordinance 2023-31.
For the number, please.
31.
Thank
This is ordinance allowing the collector to fill a current vacated position in the collector's automation fund.
Okay, now I have a question that Mike just brought up to fill this position. I have a question, what does that mean?
Which one are we on?
The collector's automation fund. Fill their current vacated position.
You said we know how to, but. Yeah, this,
The bid ordinance is not.
It's number 2 on the agenda.
yeah, I'm trying to make sure that the one I'm looking at here, is like, where are you removing the? Okay, I don't have that one. So we'll. I have a question about this one.
Yes.
For clarification, this says,
Again, there's not been a
well,
motion.
rules for thee, not for me.
We have a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
For clarification, does, it says that this will put it to where it's paid for out of the automation fund. Is it currently not? Because I guess what I'm saying here is the position that's frozen out in your office, I'm frozen that position back up. I'm not sure there's 2 or 3 in here.
Okay, which one are you looking at? To replace the position that was vacated last month?
But this one says, an ordinance to hire an employee for an already existing position.
Yes, Cindy, is it okay for you to talk now?
But let me finish my question. So the question specifically is it says that this ordinance allows the collector to fill the current vacated position from collector's automation fund. Is that different than what it's doing right now?
No, it's the same as it was last year.
Okay, so all we're doing is unfreezing the position?
No.
Why are we doing that?
Cindy left last month. I lost an employee last month.
Okay.
I am simply wanting to replace an employee that left last month.
Why would we need to approve that?
That is exactly what I wanted to know.
Is the salary the same?
So what approve? We're
Yes.
unfreezing.
The salary is going to be exactly the same, $13.25 starting for the budget.
But we haven't unfrozen yet.
That's right. We froze all the positions.
I think that we unfroze it.
Everything.
I'm not creating a position, I'm filling a position that is already there.
Yes. I think there's confusion on whether.
I think so.
It's frozen or unfrozen.
Yeah.
Because if it's unfrozen, there's no need for that. If it's frozen, it needs to be unfrozen.
I just need to know, and I'm sorry, just for a moment. He brought up, and this is another question that since I'm up here, I need to ask. One of my deputies is being paid from my automation fund. One is being paid from county general. And that's how it was last year. And that's how it was last year. So when I did the budget for the first time in the collector's office, that's how I did it this year. Should I be paying both of them from county general?
What are we discussing right now?
No, I'm paying my deputies. Right. So we're not expecting.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I don't have this in writing, so we could probably find this. There was a time when we were in financial distress and we froze all of them. Then we came back and we started undoing the freezes. And when we had the money to rehire those positions, I was under the impression that we had undone all of the hiring freezes at this point because we had froze those accounts and then removed the positions as they came open. And I was under the impression that we had undone these. And to save us from doing that, to save the debate on it, I'll make a motion to amend this, add an Article 4 that says, and we will unfreeze the positions in the collector's office.
Can we get a second to that?
Add an Article 4 to unfreeze positions in the collector's office.
But later on this evening, you're going to unfreeze the positions.
Well, then we should do that in reverse order.
Unfreeze first.
Okay.
And then we won't need it.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so
the only need for her to be here now is unappropriated money for a position that wasn't going to be on the books. Yes, sir.
Sitting down.
Part of what Carl was talking about is the position that open, nobody's asked how fucking wages are on that position. So,
this doesn't.
13.25.
This.
she has discussed with me in the past.
That's the next one.
What she's discussed in the past is taking the role she has now, which is actually her ace in the hole, and moving her to that higher position, but lowering the $16 down to what? What are you talking about? Very low.
$14.50.
Right
I
now,
would
we're
love
on
to hear it.
$16.
We shouldn't be discussing
Right now, we are discussing the vacated position. The next ordinance will be the wage increase.
Motion to table this ordinance indefinitely.
You have a second?
There is an ordinance in the packet to repeal.
Then if we get there, it eliminates the need for this. We would need, motion to table this ordinance indefinitely. And I got a second. We need to vote on it.
We got to vote on that.
Favor of tabling this.
Yes.
Justice White.
Here.
Justice Reed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shipman.
Yeah.
Brigham.
Yeah.
Scrivener.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. If you'd like to move forward and go to the ordinance that has to do with the hiring.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which number is that? I see it.
Okay. Looks like this, and it has attachments. Way at the back.
Don, can you tell me that?
Sure, yeah.
Oh. Okay, but let's see,
What's this?
that's it?
That's the original.
Oh, it's out.
Thank you.
Well. Yeah. I got it.
Okay,
Well, I have to pack that napkin, but I get my.
okay. This is, 2332. Repealing ordinance number 2020-35 on the highway increases. So we said the highway increase was appropriate in fiscal season to invest shortfalls in the budget. Now, the ordinance to.
Motion.
Any discussion? Thank you. Justice Reed,
Yes.
Justice Hutchins,
Yes.
Justice Shipman,
Yes.
Justice Freeman.
Yes.
Justice. Justice.
Yeah, I mean,
Justice Scrimmett.
Yeah.
Justice Nichols.
Yes.
Justice Spencer.
Yes.
Okay, now we're going back to the order that we were before. And now it will be. Ordinance number 2333. And an ordinance amending the collector's office number for compensation. Let's see, currently we pay out of county general. 1325 to 1450. Oh, originally the money was budgeted for 1650. Currently being paid at 1345, and she would like to raise it to 1450.
Motion.
Yes, ma'am.
Carly, you brought this up. I'm just curious, your automation, balance has $156,000 in it?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're the one who said, should I be paying both my people out of that? You just said that.
I know, I did.
Yeah. So,
And I'm willing to, if
I mean, well, I was just wondering what you were gonna do with all that money. So,
no, that's, I am willing to pay both my debts out of there.
so should we amend this to, instead of it saying county, say the automation fund?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Justice Scrimmett?
Automation fund, when you look at its definition, we should be, each department that has an automation fund should be looking at it in ways that it can improve the service and improve the help to the public.
But she has.
Well, I'm not saying she has, I'm saying you have that fund that starts becoming a clutch when we have hiring freezes or wage freeze, those that have special money can give it or come to us and say, well, I have it. And others that don't have it can't get it. So I kind of propose, she's got the money to do it now. And they've made some changes very good now. But I'm looking at its purpose. Marion County will be 100 years old, 100 years from now, because it's not always continually updating its system to stay current.
May I say something, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, my office gets reimbursed 82% every year. I get reimbursed in my automation fund every year between $42,000 and $45,000. I get reimbursed in county general from final settlement, which I cannot remember, roughly $10,000-15,000. I'd have to check with the treasurer. I cannot remember, I honestly cannot remember that number. I do not mind paying both my deputies out of my automated fund because there is money going in them. And I think I will be able to sustain that for the rest of my term. Now, my question is, and I'm probably overstepping here. Fact, Sherry is a new employee to me. She has experience in the collector's office because she was hired by Kathy Brightwell. I am still trying to save county general money because things could turn in a minute. If the Quorum Court agrees that I pay her out of my automation fund, because I did hire her as my chief deputy, can I go ahead and pay her what the budget has allowed, but out of my automation fund? And I will do that for the rest of my term. No questions asked.
Yes, sir.
Admirable, but the ordinance that has been made a motion second to is 2023-33, which takes the change in county general, not the automation.
Can it be?
So we gotta deal with this ordinance first before we.
Unless we amend it. And then if we amend it for the money to come out of automation, then we can do that. But you're talking about another ordinance, because you're talking about a regular.
Okay, would that be something that would be considered?
Let's get to the amendment part now, if we're going to. do
Okay,
that.
let's just go ahead and amend it, and then I will do another ordinance. Let's go ahead and amend it and vote on the raise.
Yes, sir.
This is much deeper than an amendment. This can't be done in an amendment tonight.
Can we just go ahead and vote on the raise tonight, and then I could do another ordinance?
It only shows on here that you have one deputy.
I have a chief deputy collector and one deputy. Last year, a deputy was removed from the office, and I believe it was Justice Brigham.
Let's, I'm sorry to interrupt. Let's go ahead and keep moving forward and let's, vote on the one that's on the floor at this time.
I'm blonde, or I was at one time, and I'm gray. I'm not sure what we're voting on. Literally voting on what's in this ordinance?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Are we ready to vote? Justice Reed,
Yes.
Justice Hutchins,
Yes.
Justice Shipman.
Yeah.
Justice Brigham,
Yes.
Justice McCullough,
Yes.
Justice Scrimmon,
Yes.
Justice Nichols.
Yes.
Justice Van Kuren,
Yes.
Justice White.
Yes.
Okay, now,
Ordinance 2334. Where the numbers and compensation portion of ordinance 1098 is actually expressed in the new ordinance. It did show a current notice position for reduction, however, the spreadsheet doesn't actually reflect actual budget line items. So I would like to create a fee as passed is exhibit 1 and as amended to be exhibit 2.
Motion to accept.
I'm sorry.
Motion to accept.
Second.
The second is any discussion?
Yes. Was exhibit 2 prepared by the comptroller?
I'm not sure who prepared it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sent to me.
Yeah.
It was sent to me.
Under the comptroller in exhibit 2, there's 2 positions showing under the comptroller. Is that accurate? In exhibit 2, under the comptroller numbers and comp, there's 2 positions. Does that mean that we have an opening there to fund it? Also, may I add more?
Yes, sir.
Under Judge Putman's budget, there is a item for extra help at $17 an hour. What is extra help?
He has and she gets very little. She only gets like 3,000 a year from Marion County. She goes from, she is actually, she's under Judge Putman because Judge Webb doesn't have a budget anymore. And she actually works with Judge Webb because he's trying to help get cases off the docket. And she schedules them.
So that's not a position, it's a fund of some sort, of some definition.
What do you mean it's not?
Well, it's listed as a position, so is there a person that holds that position?
Yes.
And last question. In exhibit 2, is insurance included in numbers and comp?
Yes, and it didn't print off. And I will have, it's the next line over. And Rick has seen it, he and I went over that yesterday. Yeah.
Can you resubmit exhibit 2? Thank you.
Has anyone taken the time to compare exhibit 1 with exhibit 2?
Yes, ma'am.
So, okay, thank you, John. All the numbers are exactly
Yes,
the
ma'am.
same. Thank you. Well, not really, because JP is 200, it's 200.
Well, that's been corrected.
You're not,
in exhibit 2.
you're not.
Thank you. So it is correct, other than what you pointed out. Thank you.
It came to me from the judge's office, but I don't know who created it to begin with.
Mr. Pizarro, it's exhibit 2 from comptroller's office.
Again, thank you.
Yes, sir.
There's been a lot of confusion about numbers and data. Different reports. When I looked at in the clerk's office, it's very clear. One of the things they do is they update the ordinances. So when you have a numbers and comps ordinance, they will have the current numbers and comps with the current ordinances that affect it. Right?
Clerk's office has no responsibility of that anymore. It's on the top phone. All I do process the ordinances and.
It says duty to update the ordinances. It says as far as the the type 100 job stuff.
Made a mistake.
Because when I, you, it, you're, correctly, if you have an initial ordinance and it's changed 3 times, the record should go back and now bring the ordinance up to date with the current changes. Am I wrong?
It's not up to date, it's not my office that does that. I don't have- There is nobody in my office that's in charge of controlling any of the.
No, you're saying, I'm saying updating ordinances.
I'm not understanding what you're asking.
If I pass an ordinance tonight, road and bridge or something, and 4 years later, it was like, the election commission, I got all the ordinances that affected that change. And I should have that for numbers and counts, because we're changing them with an ordinance. The ordinance should be attached to the current ordinance. That's what I'm saying. Got nothing to do with numbers and counts,
Each ordinance that is passed by the Quorum Court.
right?
is processed through my office.
Right.
Getting recorded properly in the right account.
That's right. And if I ask
And
you,
I, the people who are responsible for changing anything that needs to be changed as far as computer, like numbers and comp, or fund changes, or line item changes,
what
or
about hourly wages?
personnel changes,
What about hourly wages?
personnel changes.
So you forward that to the control?
And I give those to the people that are responsible for changing those.
So you would forward that to the control?
Yes.
Okay. You were saying people, not saying
Well,
specifically.
it's not-
That's right.
It goes to the treasurer, sometimes it goes to the collector. It may not go to the controller to do what they have to do.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
The first one, like out to the left-hand side of it, it tells which ordinance, has set the wage at that.
Right.
And the second one doesn't have that up with that. And I would like to keep that there. That way, if there's ever any question about the hourly rate, it links right back to the ordinance, and that way there is no question moving forward.
May I offer an example? And if we do numbers and column again, it would indicate 2333, the increase. Because that would be a note on that?
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yes. And then the other discussion is, I know it's gonna sound silly, but half of this is missing. I'm not really sure what we're updating because half of it's gone. So here's what I'm afraid of. Half of the exhibit 1, it only goes, runs out the page.
Yes, ma'am.
Chief that use to keep track of everybody's positions in pay. So when I would get something that's pan form, I would reference the pan form or the ordinance that would change the position. So it doesn't have the total budgeting amount and like the retirement and stuff like that. It was specifically what I used to keep track of our software program with our numbers and columns.
Good job.
But we're missing that.
Yes.
Good job on half of it. So, another clarifying question. If we approve this, because half of this is missing, this is not giving any wages, it's not changing any hourly pays. It's all the same as this hourly pay, exhibit 1. Exhibit 2 is the same pay as exhibit 1. It just has the insurance and stuff added over here. Which now, this column over here matches the budget. This FAR column. Exhibit 2's FAR column would represent and reflect the personal services column of our budgets.
Did you check that,
Excel.
Justice Reed?
There are some corrections, like the JP for them.
Yeah.
Exhibit 1 shows $200. Exhibit 2 is $250. And to your point, if we had a note there with an ordinance that corrected that, that would be very useful.
Like the county judge's office, when we look at our detailed budget report, the personnel services is going to read $157,928.15 under that line. Have you compared that to that?
You know, that wasn't in exhibit 1. All I did was compare the hourly rates.
And if I may, exhibit 1 does not reflect the raises for the elected officials.
Yeah.
They didn't take place until January 1. Exhibit 2 does have that listed.
Yes,
But I think the point that he's trying to make is, we really don't know if this matches our budget. What we passed in December, correct? For personal services.
Well, it should, but we don't know. Yeah.
We don't
it
have
should.
anything to show us that it does.
Right.
I would offer though that the percentages for retirement and insurance and that sort of stuff is based on the hourly rate. So it should all be the same. Quotes, right, should.
There's one other thing, in doing this, the nice clear one, copy number 2 or slip number 2, is what I sent out to everybody the other day that I got from Dawn. And adding it up, it doesn't add up, coming across the line. So what Dawn showed me was there's a J box next to J, and she added that in. And adding that in, it shows the insurance, but it also shows overtime pay. That's it. So these aren't really, I tried everything, get everything, my whole thing to print out, but I can't do it. Tried legal paper, everything, I can't print out.
you have to now show the insurance.
Fixed amount.
Email it to you.
I can do it.
I can print it out, but it's gonna come with the pages and you're gonna.
I try to put the legal paper, turn it, fill it, that's how.
One issue that I've ran into is that from last year to this year, it's my understanding that insurance changed. We did not change it. So it's put a kink in our system. The simplest fix, in my opinion, would be for the budget committee to sit down with a sheet like this, where there's an Excel equation that calculates this, and then adjust the new insurance numbers in there, and then just repass this and then adjust our budget to correlate. That would be the simplest form
With the updated insurance information.
with the updated insurance. Yeah, because it gets us down this whole hole of does the budget match this sheet? And it doesn't have to. The budget just has to be more than the sheet, and we're good. But we need a detailed budget.
That information that you have there with the spreadsheet, that is verified with Yvette as to what everybody is currently making. Right now.
With current insurance.
Yeah, and insurance, everything. Yeah, what she's got in her, number, what she shows is that's supposed to be.
Okay, so then,
That is the insurance update and everything.
okay, so then the next question would be, does the budget allow for these numbers to be used, or would this be allowing for more money than we budgeted? Let's say, for example, if the insurance went up, then our budget is not going to have, in some offices, our budget will be short if we implement this. Insurance went down. Okay, so all these numbers should be less than what the budget says.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but don't you think we need to see it?
Well, I think before I would vote yes, then
Yes.
I would yes.
Would you agree to tabling until that budget committee
I
reconsider?
think
I
so.
think that's what should happen.
I'll make a motion to table it.
Thank you. And who seconded, please?
I did,
Thank you.
Claudia, sorry.
Okay, this is on a motion to table. Deputy Shipman,
Yes.
Deputy Brigham,
Yes.
Deputy McCullough,
Yes.
Deputy Sturma,
Yes.
Deputy Nichol,
Yes.
Deputy Kern,
Yes.
Deputy Clark, Deputy Reed.
Yes. Yes.
pretty smooth.
Oh, about the small bottle of water.
Yeah, me too. Big one next time.
2023-35, an ordinance to establish a fund in county general to be called the election reimbursement fund. This is to fund to allow for when we get our reimbursement. It will go into this fund, because we haven't got our reimbursement from the primary yet. When we get this money, it will go into this fund alone. So it can only be used for the 2024 election. I got a phone call. It is today. Yesterday, we are at the. Okay, well, I was gonna say, we're at the top of the agenda. We should have our money by the end of the month. It could be close to 40,000.
Good.
Are there any questions? Justice Brigham,
Yes.
Justice McCullough,
Yeah.
Justice Scrima.
Yeah.
Justice Nichols. Justice Curran.
Yeah.
Justice White.
Yeah.
Justice Reed.
Yes.
Justice Hutchins.
Yes.
Justice Shipman.
Yes.
Three 36. This amendment, the ordinance amends the budget for the transfer of funds from the Corps of Engineers to the Marion County Sheriff's Office for law enforcement duties performed in the 2022 calendar year. Justice McCullough.
Yeah.
Justice Scrima. Justice Nichols.
Yes.
Justice Van Kuren.
Yes.
Justice White.
Yes.
Justice Reed.
Yes.
Justice Hutchins.
Yes.
Justice Shipman.
Yes.
Justice Rachel.
Yes.
Ordinance 2337, amending the budget, and this is because the coronavirus relief sheriff's fund was not carried forward into the 2023 budget for their bulletproof vests.
Motion approved.
Second.
The second.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if this is appropriate or not, but this is for bulletproof vests. In the next ordinance, we're gonna talk about ballistic vests. Can you explain what the difference
It's
is?
the same,
So we have two of them, two ordinances
yes.
for different amounts of money?
The $20,000 was a grant that was received in January or February. The $34,000 that was appropriated in October, that's when we ordered the vest and the protective carry plates.
Okay.
That's for the 34,000. We ordered them in October, received them in January, and these people hadn't been paid for that.
When did you determine your receipt?
I'm sorry?
When did you request payment from for? You said you're billing,
January.
you said you're billing to get paid for the vest.
The money was left in 2022. We've got to bring it over from 2022.
So you didn't get.
We hadn't got it paid.
The 34,000.
Yes.
You can pay that out of the 2022 fund all the way up to the end of February.
Brother, it hadn't been paid, and there won't be money.
Thankful.
This is
I'm
a,
not thankful now, but when the question was when they got the receipt.
Yes, sir.
yeah,
My question is, it says that it's for bulletproof vests, but then at the bottom, we put it in clothing and uniform. That's because that's the nearest line item to bulletproof vest. Okay. And then, these, for clarification, these vests were purchased back in October,
that's when they were ordered.
and we appropriated the money once
In October.
already in 22,
Yes.
and the bill didn't get paid still.
Never been paid.
And so they sent us a bill last year, I would assume, or they were late sending the bill. You don't get the bill.
I didn't get it last year.
You didn't? So we assumed that they sent us a bill and it got replaced. And now they want to. I said we give them half and see what they say. But
Justice Scrivener?
Yes.
Justice Nichols?
yes.
Justice McKern?
Yes.
Justice Reed?
Yes.
Justice
Yes.
Chipman?
Yes.
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 Twenty-three thirty-eight is to appropriate from public safety, $12,071.80 for ballistic vests. Can you get your, explain?
Motion.
Second.
Justice Nichols?
Yes.
Justice McKern?
Yes.
Justice Wright?
Yes.
Justice Reed?
Yes.
Justice Hutchins?
Yes.
Justice Shipman?
Yes.
Justice Brigham?
Yes.
Justice McCullough?
Yes.
Justice Scrivener?
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 2339. This is another instance where the ARPA revenue replacement fund on the fire departments does not carry over from the 2022 budget into the 2023 budget. And you have $71,674.60.
Motion. Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am. Was that just an oversight or recent? Was it there?
Good question.
But I don't think that carryover is the right way to put it, because if we appropriated money from the American Rescue Fund in 22, that was a one-time appropriation. What must have happened, I would assume, if somebody please fill us in, but it must have not got spent in 22.
Not correct. It wasn't spent, not all, some of it was spent in 2022, but the remainder of the funds didn't carry over to 2023.
Yeah, it won't carry over because it was one-time money appropriated in 2022,
I mean, there was still remaining.
71,000. Yeah, so we have to reappropriate it as one-time money in 23. So it says carry over, but it's never going to carry over. Nothing carries over. The budget is repassed every year.
What would be the correct?
It wasn't reappropriated, yeah, but because like, it may carry over in the account, but the appropriation doesn't carry over. Every year when we pass the budget, we're appropriating that money. If we don't appropriate the money, then nothing would be appropriate.
I mean, I thought we were including the other.
It's in there.
Okay. So the amount plus. All right.
Yes, sir.
Because I forget what happened last year and this year, like, could we possibly have attached the ordinance, like moving forward? Can we put the ordinance that we passed in 2022? I don't know, what was the total amount of it? Do you remember, like, it was more than 71,000 because 71,000 was left?
Yeah.
It'd be a lot easier to understand if that ordinance was attached to this. That way it shows in 2022, $101,000 was appropriated, 71,000 was remaining, and now we're asking that you reappropriate the 71,000 this year so they can finish up what they were doing.
Right.
It would be a lot easier to understand because this just looks like, I mean, if you weren't on the Quorum Court, this looks like we're giving them $71,000, but there's more to it than that.
Yes, sir.
Do these improvements need to come before procedure, make it, I agree with you totally.
I mean,
Well, technically, we already approved it.
yeah, technically, we took, because American Rescue Fund money was one-time money, technically, we agreed in 2022 that this is your money.
Oh, I know that, but one part, your suggestion to have attached that older ordinance, the 22 ordinance, should that be a procedural thing? Should we make that official?
I think that what it would protect us from is somebody saying, remember in 2022 when you said I could have $100,000? I would like the other 98,000.
Can we carry that forward to attaching any older ordinance that's being, but
I think we should.
thank you.
Any more discussion? Yes, Dr.
Yes.
Yes, White. Reed.
Yes.
Such.
Yes.
Mr. Shipman.
Yes.
Brigham.
Yes.
Yes. Scott.
Yeah.
Mr. Sherman.
Yes.
Mr. Bidwell.
Yes.
This is 2340. I think, and this is the 911. $14.91. Not there for 2022,
Motion.
Motion. Yes. Second.
Yes, sir.
This is to put the 911 system in, what this ordinance is about.
Yes.
When the Quorum Court voted, okay, I'm disappointed about this situation that we're in. The reason that I'm disappointed is because I voted, along with many others up here, to remodel the old jail building. But I didn't just vote to remodel the old building. I voted to remodel the old building because it was going to house the 911 system. If it wasn't going to house the 911 system, I would not have remodeled that building. Don't remember exactly what we appropriated, but quite a bit of money. Then it was brought to my attention by a passerby that the 911 system wasn't being installed in the building that we voted to remodel, but it was being installed in the new jail building. I didn't just vote to have it put there. I consciously voted to have it put there. There were reasons behind my decision to have it put there, and I do not approve of it being moved to the other building. I do not like that we weren't made aware, we weren't given any input on that. So it's kind of like, once we give the money, our work here is done and we're cut out of the equation. And that's not a good feeling that leaves you with. And I understand that voting no on this could potentially cause some hard feelings, because these people also are going to want their money. But I'm going to vote no, because I did not want the building, the new jail, to house this system. And that's not what I voted for originally, and it's not going to be what I vote for tonight.
Yes.
If I remember right, we appropriated $125,000 for the old jail renovation to house 911
Correct.
and the corner.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate what you're saying. If we handle that in a different ordinance, let's just go.
No, how good would service?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Did it specifically say that 911 system would be put in the building, or it said that we were going to renovate the building for 911 to move to?
Yes, sir.
It specifies that the building is being renovated to become the new 911 command center. Not only does the ordinance specify it, but the understanding and the consensus here is that we all understood what was happening. Now, legally, the judge is in charge of where it goes.
Yes.
But just because you can doesn't mean that you should. And I'm voting no.
Mr. Chairman?
when it was first brought to the attention that this was going to be done, myself, as judge-elect and sheriff-elect, stood right here in September and explained our plans before you all voted of not moving on for safety concerns. Now, it does read that E911 services will be in that building. I'm still putting E911 services in that building. It's not dispatch. I'm putting mapping in that building. I'm still putting the OEM, so it's still an emergency command center, and the coroner's still going over there. So it'll still be a part of E911 services in there. It'll still be the OEM will be in there. And this stuff right here for the 911 fund is great. It's being used and it's helping us going forward for the safety of our citizens here in Marion County. This is good equipment, and I'm very glad to have it. And we can react better at the sheriff's department because of it. Yes, sir.
When we met with the communications director for the 911 funds, when he met with us and my source, everybody has been telling me that down the line, this commission, which establishes the funding requirement for 911, has said that what they're waiting on now is when they want Arkansas moved to 911 centers separate operation from the other operation. Because right now, in PSAP, the 911 system is paying for other agency services. And the funding agencies are saying, no way. What the gorilla that I think is laying in the bushes is they're gonna come up, either reduce the funding or say to get to what you want. And I'm talking about the phone companies and that.
Yes.
With your compliance.
And
And
I,
that's just the gorilla laying out there waiting for.
and I had heard the same thing. And myself and the OEM from Marion County went to an ad meeting with 911 coordinators 2 months ago, and I'll ever speak on that. And that's not the case.
I can tell you that the state went down this path, they started down this path 4 years ago. There was a mandate that came out that said there's only one PSAP, there's only one TSP board in the state of Arkansas. That ETSP board is the Emergency Services Telephone Board. They cover the entire state. They now generate, the revenues generated by that, by landline phones, it was just a statute, a law change for the funding mechanism for those 911 centers because so many folks were going to burner phones and cell phones. So we weren't picking up on that. We were losing revenue. That revenue has doubled since that statute was passed. 4 years ago, the state mandated that the PSAPs go from 144 PSAPs standalone down to 75 in the state. And that's where Director Gary and CJ Engel, who's our 911 state 911 chairman, had formed this committee. I sat on that committee for a year in my previous job as president of the Arkansas Chiefs Association. They still have not submitted their final report. Now, the principal location of the PSAP is going to be determined, it's by the judge who'll determine where it'll be. But the state has to cut about 30% of the PSAPs down. And if you want to continue to maintain a PSAP, you can do that. But the problem will be is that if you want to have a PSAP and it's not a sanctioned PSAP by the state 911 board, you have to fund it at 100%. Now, as far as what Justice Van Kern was saying, as far as moving 911 over there, I built the PSAP one time, ran it for 10 years, and the cost to relocate our current dispatch center back over to the old sheriff's office, which is now the OEM 911 mapping coroner's office, will probably run in the area of $750,000 to $1 million to transport, to move that entire operation over there, because you're going to need all new towers. You're going to need to do a topographical survey. I mean, it just is not going to work to do that. So the physical location, and on top of that, we run the risk of this board saying, eventually, Marion County, you might not have a PSAP. They might tell us we have to consolidate. We just don't know. So it'd be prudent to wait for the final report to come out.
I would also like to say that during the same conversations, I asked about it being separate. And they said PSAP funding is based on population only. There's nothing that's funding, whether it be in the same building or not in the same building. Yes, ma'am.
I have not missed a quorum court meeting, and you were not here in September discussing it with us, saying that you had no, as sheriff-elect, as judge-elect, you had no intentions of moving.
Yes, ma'am. I mean.
That did not,
September,
y'all, I'm not saying y'all didn't have the discussion.
No, we haven't.
I'm not saying you had it right here with us.
Yeah, we both put up in the front row. Am I correct, Sheriff?
Does anybody else remember that?
It may have been October.
Okay,
I remember both of them saying that, because they were.
I don't remember it at all.
Thank you.
But, you know, it wasn't something we agreed with when they said it, but they said it.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to address a couple things. Number one, the $750,000 expense of moving it. It was all set up to be moved there. I do not remember the $750,000 price tag. I don't know how you arrived at that conclusion, nor do I care to hear anymore. Safety to the citizens, I want to address that. You guys remember the Quorum Court? Do you guys remember when it was reported to us that the inmates were hanging out inside of the 911 center?
Yes.
So how about safety when you're calling 911 and the inmates are doing whatever they're doing in there? That's not very safe. That was one reason I wanted to move it. Also, remember when we got the reports that some people, I don't want to call anybody's name specifically, were bringing their kids to work? That office is located right there where they're allowed to have kids. So you're calling 911, you're having an emergency and there's kids in the background. I don't think that that's very safe. I'm going to hold the line. I'm voting no.
I'll rebuttal to that and say that the 309 is due to cleaning underneath the old administration. And that was a 309 inmate that was in there. That's no longer done. It was the one-time thing, and the new sheriff does not have them do that. And so that concern is no longer. Yes, ma'am.
And locked, there's a lock on the door. People have to knock to come in. The new sheriff and chief deputy have now secured the building once where people can't just come in and out. The code has been changed. You have to have access to the building. As far as voting no, I'm gonna ask you not to do that because you're not just punishing us not moving to a building, but you're punishing a good system that is gonna come in use in this county and benefit not only the departments, but the citizens. So if you vote no, just because we didn't move, that's kind of selfish. And I'm sorry.
If we do not support what's being force fed to us, then shame on us.
What is being force fed to you?
Ma'am?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
what I'd like to know in regards to 911 and all the communications, right now, you have 911 dispatch. I see in the law that we had a couple months ago about other law enforcement entries, license checks. What percentage of that expense is being absorbed by the PSAP operation and not by the law enforcement, not only the sheriff's office, the other supporting agencies? When they call in, they don't have dispatch centers. So we're dispatching or communicating through other agencies at really no cost, and it's being absorbed by the county. Because we had a meeting last year being accused of double taxation for the cities that were getting a service and the county residents were paying for the service. That's what I like to
The
tell them.
license plate checks are not funded by PSAP. That is funded by the sheriff's department and each individual OR.
Let's hold on. Thank you very much. Let's get back to the appropriation of the ordinance. All right. Thank you.
Are we ready? Justice White? I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, Kendra.
I'll start us off. No.
Justice White? Justice Reed?
Yes.
Justice Hutchins?
Yes.
Justice Shipman?
No.
Justice Brigham?
No,
Justice McCullough?
No.
Justice Scriven?
No.
Justice Nichols?
No.
Motion carries. Okay, ordinance 2241. They're changing the name of the from employee to lead transfer station operator. And then the three remaining employees will be called transfer station license.
Motion.
Discussion.
I'd like to point out that the only thing they're doing is changing the job description to make it more, more heads of what the people are doing in the transfer station. It's not for a raise or anything like that, there's no money involved.
Yes, sir.
Are we just changing job descriptions and titles only?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we're not looking at increases?
No.
Justice White?
Yes.
Justice Reed?
Yes.
Justice Hutchins?
Yes.
Justice Chipman?
Yes.
Justice Brigham?
Yes.
Justice McCullough?
Yes.
Justice Scrimmett?
Yes.
Justice Nickel?
Yes.
Justice O'Keefe?
Yes.
Thank you. Twenty-three forty-two amends the personnel policy to say that the employee has to take their birthday off within 30 days after their birthday, rather than 1 year.
Motion.
So,
Yes, sir.
This is the problem.
It's been a
You
problem.
can't even take it on their birthday, so after the birthday.
right. We were told that it was a problem because of the paperwork and everything. And, they wanted to shorten the time that they could take it simply for that reason, and they worked more. I'm sorry.
We have 26 people we keep up with. And sometimes it gets them.
Keeping it within 30 days of their birthday makes it.
No, easier, yes.
Yeah.
Year is harder.
I didn't know we got our birthdays on.
Mr. Chairman,
Well, we did.
Yes, sir.
who's on this?
The personnel committee.
It's right there, very bottom. Justice.
Oh, okay, I see it. Thank you. So it's, so we're saying that they have to take it within 30 days.
Correct.
After their birthday, can't have their day off, they gotta be after.
I could believe it not going a year. Thank you.
At least, I mean, I make a motion to amend it to where it says on or after their birthday.
Within 30 days.
Yeah, have their birthday off.
I'll second it.
Okay, on the amendment. It's about the amendment.
It's supposed to be
Voting on the
amendment. It's on the amendment, making it on or after, so it's not just after the birthday. Oh,
Is that a yes? Justice Lynch?
Yes.
Justice Chipman?
Yes.
Justice Brigham?
Yes.
Justice McCullough? Justice Scrimmett?
Yes.
Justice Nichols? Justice O'Keefe?
Yeah.
Justice White? Okay, now can we vote to adopt?
Happy.
Thank you. Justice Roll, Justice, you know whatever. Justice Hutchins? Justice Shipman,
Yes.
Justice Brigham,
Yes.
Justice McCullough,
Yes.
Justice Scrimmel,
Yes.
Justice Nichols,
Yes.
Justice Van Kuren,
Yes.
Justice White, Justice Reed.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, city ordinance 43. This is appropriating money from sales tax solid waste to sales tax from 18,
Solid waste.
oh, solid waste,
Right, yeah.
recycling to solid waste.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Justice Shipman,
Yes.
Justice Brigham,
Yes.
Justice McCullough,
Yes.
Justice Scrimmel,
Yes.
Justice Nichols,
Yes.
Justice Van Kuren,
Yes.
Justice White,
Yes.
Justice Reed,
Yes.
Justice Hutchins.
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 44 is to appropriate, unappropriated nothing to do with supplement for 200. Appropriate coronavirus relief fund to the road department for a purchase of a new grader in the amount
Second. Second.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a reason why you're taking 229,000 from the, COVID relief funds?
Because there was still money available there and we're allowed to use it for this.
I understand that, but
Yeah.
you also have $2.3 million in the road department in your funds. Why do you need to use COVID money for that?
I was just going to use COVID money before we did the money from the county.
Well, I know, but I mean, I just think, I mean, I've been a supporter of using COVID money, American Rescue money and everything out in the county. And since you seem to have plenty of money in the road department, I just think the money should come from the road department versus, because there might be something else we could use that COVID money for.
With the Corona Relief Fund, they had stipulations on it at one time.
Mhm.
And they opened it up very widely because there were still people that had a lot of money left over.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, and I'm not saying, well, let's don't spend it. I'm just saying, you've got plenty of money in the road department that I think we should spend it out of the road department and spend the COVID money someplace else. If you didn't have any money, it's a done deal.
Yes, sir.
Is there an issue with the new Sandies that we just purchased in the fall?
No, they're all over right now. They had some issues, the first 3 months, but they're all running right now. But if one of those or any other would go down, this was at least one that we had for 2 years, had to be returned, we paid it over. We needed to purchase it at that amount with a 2-year warranty. We had one to go do emergency grading, or we had a backup one to go down. So not just stuff being down routes, if I'd be working on a issue.
I also agree with, Justice Brigham that the road department has so much money now that we should leave the ARPA funds alone.
Well, this is not our business,
Coronavirus, I'm sorry, my
Yes.
mistake. Is there a date that we could use that virus relief fund? Time frame,
There's not a date on it.
I don't believe there's time for that.
so it could be used 3 or 4 years from now?
Good question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Did this go through the budget committee? It has the sponsors listed out individually. Most of them are on the budget committee, but it doesn't say budget committee.
Yes, the meeting with the committee and also school justice really wanted to.
Okay. And then one more question. I didn't know that because it usually says their budget committee, but this is individual. Hey, the other question was this coronavirus relief fund. I'm getting a little confused on funds. We have American Rescue, we have ARPA, we have coronavirus relief.
ARPA is American.
ARPA is,
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm using my acronyms for my, so we have ARPA and we have coronavirus relief. And earlier we talked about how much we had in ARPA.
yes.
How much we have in coronavirus relief at the moment?
Well, we're gonna be covered.
And then also when we do this, we said 500,000 was gonna go to like, not-for-profits.
That's our, that will be.
Yeah, that's-
Okay, that was not, you didn't count that again when you gave us our total?
No.
Okay, you used it as spending money. Okay,
So the coronavirus, treasurer's got here 440,680.
What was that? I'm sorry.
$440,681. Would that may be
That is,
another line items right now? Not that full amount.
so that's including,
That's including the whatever we've already put in.
so,
Jeff,
Yes, ma'am.
why are we not buying another spending grader cheaper than spending this for the?
Just with the issues that we've had right now with the senior graders and the issues that we have not had with this lease grader for 2 years. Or at least for 2 years, we know how it's been ran, we know how it works. And this is the one I would like to get to county. Yes, sir.
Is this get grader also certified and been redone and getting a warranty?
Correct, yes, it's already been sent back, it's leases up. Anything that's
It's like getting a new.
correct, anything that's wrong with it right now. And in the 2-year warranty, over second year, have training controls. And they'll bring it back to us. We took it to them. Part of the deal is that this goes forward, they will transfer it back to us.
you know how much our lease cost us over the lifetime of that lease?
I don't know.
Just be interesting to see if we bought it and we added our lease, how much we're actually getting for it. I'd like to know that. I'll make a motion to table it until we figure out how much our lease was, so we know actually what we're giving for this grader.
We're able to for a month. And we may not still be here. I can't just tell them.
Could we recess and go find that? I mean, I'd just like to know how much we're paying for it.
Goes around. Yeah.
We,
can we table it for the month? And bring it-
Like the question I brought is, we did it for a month. I can't tell John to hold that.
Okay, I see. Okay.
And this one right here, we know how it's been ran.
but can we table it for, and move on with the business of the tonight? And someone can go retrieve it? I would really like to know
Okay.
before I vote.
Certainly.
I still make the argument that you're asking for half of that COVID money. And that's, I think,
No, I
and I think if we were gonna make an amendment, I'm just saying that, I think the amendment means it comes out of the road department. If we're going to do it.
You've already got one.
No, I'm not saying, I said if I was going to, make it would be. I'm not saying I'm making an amendment.
And I, again, was just using monies that wasn't ours, which I got to follow. So
On Gil. Yeah, we should.
Can we just agree to let her go get that thing and then we'll come back to it, we'll circle back to it?
yes, sir.
We just- Yeah.
No. We may need availability because of water.
All right. This is appropriating the money. That's the 23.
Motion. Second.
Any discussion? Justice Brewer,
Yes.
Justice McCall,
Yes.
Justice Stewart,
Yes.
Justice Nichols,
Yes.
Justice Baker,
Yes.
Justice White,
Yes.
Justice Reed,
Yes.
Justice Hutchins,
Yes.
Justice Schiffman.
Yes.
Two thousand 46. This is money coming out of the rescue fund for the Marion County Nursing Home Auxiliary. The amount of $75,000 for them to fill the storage facility.
Motion.
Discussion. Justice McCullough,
Yes.
Justice Scrivener.
Yeah.
Justice Nichols,
Yes.
Justice Baker.
Yeah.
Justice White. Justice Reed,
Yes.
Justice Hutchins,
Yes.
Justice Schiffman.
Yeah.
Justice Reed.
Abstain.
Sorry, I think that was spot on. It's the same. Okay. All right, ordinance 347. Okay, Karen. Ordinance 42. And then tonight, when I printed everything off and figured the line item is, which is not of your concern. This ordinance is gonna cover everything. Am I correct?
Yes.
So we have two copies.
I'm sorry.
We have two copies of the ordinance.
We should just have the one that came out.
I just got court order.
That's the court order. Ignore that. Got it.
I don't.
Anyway, this means this is providing the budget for the sales tax and law enforcement fund 18 individuals. We have $81,392.
Motion.
Yes, sir.
Justice McCall, did this come through budget? I mean,
Yes, it did.
It says sponsored.
man,
It says, yes, it was sponsored, yeah.
I guess I'm looking at the wrong one. Which one should we be looking at?
Look at that one, it's,
Okay, that one dead. This is 47.
Yes.
there any discussion?
I have a question. Are we raising appropriations in sales tax? Budget committee?
Well, what happened was the judge is throwing money as part of his sales tax percentage to the sheriff's office.
How did we do that?
That doesn't require us.
Um, That is, yeah.
If there's gotta be a sales tax ordinance,
That didn't happen. That didn't happen. That's not what this is about.
but this is, the way I read the ordinance is to get sales tax, law enforcement sales tax, a transfer.
Transfer from.
Just read and remember it.
If I could try to explain it. Whenever the budget was passed in December, it included the original budget, which I'm looking at here. It was $81,000 short
In sales tax.
in sales tax. And you brought it to our attention at the Quorum Court meeting down here the other night.
Okay.
And that's what we found. And then we're trying to move the monies over to the line items. And you've got a sheet there that shows the new line items, is that right, on the back part of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just moving the $81,000
Mr. Chairman?
back.
Yes, sir.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
When we had the final meeting on the budget to be passed, we were lacking the law enforcement budget. You were there, correct? The fire sheriff was not there. And we had 3 meetings. And we said, made a recommendation in budget committee. We have no correct budget to look at. So we took last year's budget and I gave you the figures and said, here it is. And that's what we did.
I think the problem is, Mike.
Yeah.
That we did put the budget in, but we didn't have enough money appropriated. So, but I don't think that this is the right fix. Don't we have to project, don't we have to raise our projected revenues and then appropriate them? And I'm not sure that we did that.
That's right. What we had instructed, and unfortunately Greg was there, is, and if I recall, this is the bottom line, however you make them 4 categories match it. And so, yeah, but you're right, the actual budget now has to be, you have to raise the revenue and then appropriate the revenue. Because it's obviously you need that budget.
I'm not saying that I disagree with this, but I think that we should compare this. Is this $81,392? Is that the number that I came up with at the budget committee? Because I did that presentation and I explained the issue. Was that the?
I think yours was 70-something thousand. The 81 is what we've actually come up with.
Yeah.
The difference.
So we're raising revenues by an extra $10,000. That's the issue I have. If we have to raise revenues first and then appropriations. If our revenues don't match this, then we could potentially be appropriating more money than we have as a projected revenue. So we should cross-reference this first.
Yeah.
Are you in immediate trouble that you need this money, like you're running out? I think we should table it till next month and then cross-reference to make sure that.
Right.
Motion to table.
Motion second.
Yeah, I'll make a motion table.
Second.
Hang on.
You're right.
Okay, this is on the motion table. Justice Scrivener,
Yes.
Justice Nichols,
Yes.
Justice Van Kuren.
Yeah.
Justice White.
Yeah.
Justice Reed.
Yep.
Justice Hutchings,
Yes.
Justice Shipman.
Yeah.
Justice Brigham.
Yes.
Justice McCall.
Yeah.
Thank you. Can we go back to the other one?
Yes, we sure do.
We have that information.
Loan for the John Deere was taken out the door, or not loan, lease. Lease agreements for the 2 years with full warranty lease was $227,812.
Yeah, me too.
They want $229 for it, with an extended 2-year warranty.
Two
229 even.
27, 812, and they want how much?
229 purchase outright,
Which also comes with that one.
2 years. And fully going through.
So that means the total cost is $456.
Yeah, leasing heavy equipment is always gonna be pricey.
So if we were to just buy a brand new grader, I know that that's not what's on the table, but if we were to just buy a brand new grader, would it be less than 456?
Yes, it was a brand new John Deere, runs about 347, 345 right now.
Then we just gonna do
Well, I was trying to save money and go with one.
Yeah, so we paid two.
Yeah, I mean, I have the funds, I I was using Chrome relief fund to not pay for anything that was taxed, but I've got the money in my 2,000 county road accounts. I would easily make it, allow it to amend that and take that money from there.
We essentially, by renting and then buying, we essentially lost $115,000.
Leasing's a bad deal. with heavy equipment.
No wonder John Deere gave you that hat.
But again, saving over $100,000 from whatever fund we take from is one that we've used.
Yeah.
And I incorporated 2 years.
That's a
into
good-
that, and I have to do it.
Would you prefer a brand new one then? Or you're happy with that one?
I didn't look into brand new ones because I was saving over $100,000.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yes.
Did state you're gonna take money out of the county road fund?
Yes, yeah. I mean, you have to amend that.
Okay.
Yes. I was, like I said, the reason I was doing that first was to say where that dollars. But if you want to keep that fund where it's at, I have to keep the lines in the book.
Yes.
Not to beat a dead horse or anything like that, but having lived through being broke, the county being broke, I'd like to have a savings account.
Yeah, that's no problem. I was going to say, again, my reasoning was not
Yeah.
take from there if you could. But I got no problem saving from there because I have the funds.
Okay, I make a motion to amend that account.
This is talking about the grader.
Yeah,
You're talking about amending where the money comes out of the road department.
the road.
Is that line item 2,000?
Yes, 2,000 county road fund.
Okay, 2000-02.
Second.
Got a second. Yes.
I think, I like what you did. I was gonna support that the way that it was with the save the road shop and do it. I'm gonna vote no on this. I would vote for that.
Well, I got 6 that are on board, so hopefully that goes.
I think for, to be an appropriate amendment, though, we would need to fund that we're taking that out of.
2,000, line item 2,000.
Yeah.
So
Karen said line item 2,000.
what's that funds? So right now? Now,
Just, I think you said it's 2.3 million that is in there.
Well, that's total, and I was going by the treasurer's report, what she reported today.
I'm probably not gonna change anybody's mind, but I wanna get rid of that money, so I'm for buying the grader out of that money. That money's a blessing and a curse.
Is there any further discussion?
2000 has 1.2 million in it, John.
thank you. And it's not all that one.
It's county road fund, 2000. 1.2 million, and then, the county, the 1801 has 954,000.
Thank you.
So roughly 2.3 million.
Okay, this is on the motion to amend this from coming out of the coronavirus money to the Road Department. Justice Brigham,
Yes.
Justice McCullough,
Yeah.
Deputy Scrimmon,
Yes.
Justice Nichols, Justice Van Kuren, Justice White, Justice Reed, Justice Hutchins, I'm sorry,
No.
Justice Shipman.
Yes.
All right. So any further discussion before we vote to adopt?
Yes, sir. About the sheriff those cars out of that money.
That was under ARPA money.
Yeah, well, tonight it's all thing.
Just went through.
Well, we haven't voted to buy the grader yet. That could still fail. But, well,
The sheriff doesn't have 2.3 million.
we're correct, but we're going to, down the road. So now we have all this, we have 400,000. Whatever it was, lost my papers. We're gonna use that for what? Like for a whole count, the whole county does benefit from grader because it grades the roads.
Sheriff Department also. Where are we at now, Don?
To adopt this.
All right.
We need to try to adopt this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's roll.
Justice McCullough,
Yes.
Justice Scrimmett,
Yes.
Justice Nichols,
Yes.
Justice Van Kuren,
Yes.
Justice White.
Yeah.
Justice Reed,
Yes.
Justice Hutchings,
Yes.
Justice Shipman.
Yes.
Justice Brigham.
Yes.
Okay. No more on that. Let's do-
Question for the clerk. Question for the clerk.
Yes, sir.
Don, are we out of the original packet now and into what was handed out earlier?
Yeah.
Next one that's up, yes, it was in your packet. And has to do with the treasurer's office and a wage increase. But you still have more that wasn't in your packet.
So
Where we at now?
you let me know when one comes up that wasn't packet.
Ordinance 2349, which is the deputy treasurer's position for an increase in their wage. $3 wage increase from 13.1645. And it would come out of the treasurer's automation fund.
Motion.
Who did that?
Where we at? Is there a motion?
Yeah.
Third and second?
Okay, let's go after the second. Okay. Now, let's go. Ordinance 50. This is again, using the ARPA money, I'm sorry, rescue fund money. In the amount of $25,000 for them to be able to purchase food and going. And this will also help with the also food pantry.
Second.
The second is on party.
Body.
All right, questions?
Go ahead, sir.
This is buying food that's gonna be given away, not living structure or anything like that? Okay,
I don't know that. You'd have to ask.
is that right? Like, okay, I don't support that because, I do a lot of grants and stuff outside of this, and never do I get a grant for that, because, that's money given and money gone. I support building a structure that benefits for years to come. I support those kind of things. And it's nothing against the food pantry at all. Sure, they're doing a great job, but this is basically just, this is not gonna be here next year. So I'm against this.
You don't support the food.
I don't support using this money to buy canned food. I would support using the money at the food pantry to build a structure that will be here for many years. But I'm not gonna, I personally do not just want to give an entity money for them to spend without having something to show for it. I mean, in a year from now, that's forgotten and that's gone. But if we built a structure or something, then that's there for years and years and years. I mean, every entity would just want to operate.
See, somewhat, I try to see both sides of the loop, but their feet,
Yeah, it's saying I
can't
don't,
afford to buy food.
correct.
Right.
And I don't think that,
Yes, sir.
I'm talking with your dad over there, he was there.
Yes, sir.
Over there. The problem we got right now is everything costs more and more and more. The people that are getting the food are almost doubling. I mean, there's more and more people going out and needing help, needing food. And we need to take the help now. In a year, maybe they'll be over and we can buy a half a dozen eggs again. Right now, it's getting bad out there and getting worse. If we can help get food to these people, we need help get food. These are our people, you know, in Marion County.
Yes, sir.
I want to be real clear because your statement was you don't support the food or whatever you said. I don't want that to be a title. I do support the food pantry. I want this money to be something that's here for years and years. So I don't support giving this money for operation. They want to come back with, they can say, they can use their own money to buy food and they can use a structure or something. I would support that.
Yes, sir.
Just so you have a staff and volunteer deposit. And when I started 4 years ago, we had about 40 some families every Thursday morning. Last Thursday, we had 140 families with food deposits, and we ran out of food at the end. So yes, I wish there was a way we got food with more donations and stuff, but 140 families just can't get through and didn't have enough food. So that's what they're asking.
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I would support this percent because when y'all decided to cut and not give us raises, some of us had to go to the food pantry, feed our families. And it's on an income based. You have to fill out paperwork. It isn't just free food. You've got to fill out paperwork. You've got to be, when you fill out that paperwork, they go through your finances. You've got to give tax returns, and it's humiliating to have to do all of that. So that helps the people in the community. It is very humiliating. I've had to volunteer there myself, and I've had to accept food from the food pantry.
Yes, sir.
I would think right now, I support the, even the rural areas, they're all struggling for funds. And it's a burden on some of the corporations to fund all these different agencies. And so to me, if it's one-time money to help out, it does benefit the community in that way. Although I agree with what he's saying.
Yeah.
We've got a very unique situation right now with unemployment.
Yes, sir.
I take from that for it.
And am I correct, this is also supported by the budget committee?
It
Yes.
was.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not trying to put words in Talon's mouth by any means, but I think his point was, you give the person a fish, they eat for a day. But things are rough out there, and we all know that, and we need to do what we can. And it's $25,000.
Let me just finish with that. My thought was that however it came out, whatever, my intentions were that I just wanted something tangible, be there for years.
Right.
But what's it gonna hurt? I changed my mind.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And most of the appropriations we've done for out of the 500,000, we paid them, I believe, by invoice.
Right.
So how would we do this?
He'll have to, they buy the food from the North Arkansas Food Closet, but they have to pay for that.
Okay, so
So they would get a bill and then the county would reimburse them.
Okay, so we can do that on a reimbursement.
Gone. Any discussion carries over.
Yeah.
Thank you. Justin Sherman?
Yes.
Justin Nickel?
Yes.
Justin Baker?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
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 Justin Clark?
Yeah.
Okay, the next ordinance is in the packet as you see your packet is on the Lakeway Volunteer Fire Department and I've been asked for.
Yeah, just as Reed would like to know why it was pulled.
Yes.
And it was pulled because the person who signed the application is no longer a part of the Lakeway Rural Volunteer Fire Department. And I ran this past Mr. Russo, and he agreed that it needs to come back. Someone else who is on the board needs to bring it to the budget committee. And I'm not saying we're not gonna pass it, but just the person who applied is not on.
I understand.
No, someone new has to do it.
Can we do that now? I'll sign right now.
No.
Okay, so it's been done.
I'll check it.
No.
Okay. Mr. Warren. This is to appropriate some ARPA money for the water rescue fund that's not been transferred to the budget, 2023 budget, in the amount of $1,536.92.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Mr. Baker?
Yeah.
Mr. Black?
Yes.
Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Sachi?
Yes.
Mr. Chipman?
Yeah.
Mr. Reagan?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's to create some funds in the amount of $12,000 for the Oakland Area Improvement Association.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
a question came up. We got our chairman of the Open Community Center. The question was presented that in lieu of the money being funded, if you got money back, you would reimburse the county back its money.
Yeah, we work to get water some back. We wouldn't feel right. I talked to my vice president, my board member, and we would not feel right.
You're saying it was due process, but it's course of appropriate, and there was funds that were got taken back to y'all.
Yeah.
You would.
We would give them back.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Only fair, you give to us, we give to you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
I'll just amend it so we all remember that that's what we agreed to.
Okay.
I'll amend it that if it goes through the process and that person has to pay restitution, that we would be reimbursed this money.
Thank you.
Or let's just do that. That, I don't know that I know how to do that.
That would, that'd be the judge that sits here full time.
That
makes that decision.
Yeah, let's just leave it at, it'll be reimbursed. If you guys wanted to go through the judge, then.
Yeah.
Back. Yeah.
What if we with that, like, we already said it, you gotta be okay with getting that.
What's up and out, and again, appreciate you.
I'll add section 5. I'll make them, don't write anything down yet, I guess.
Second.
Okay. I'll add a section 5 that says that if the alleged perpetrator, however we say that, pays restitution, that is a. If we don't do that, we could incentivize somebody to take money.
Restitution back.
Or it'll be returned by them or whatever.
Okay, we're voting on the amendment.
Yep.
Baker,
Yes.
Justice White. Justice Reed.
Yes.
Justice Hudson.
Yes.
Justice Shipman.
Yes.
Justice Reagan.
Yes.
Justice McCullough.
Yes.
Justice Scrimmon.
Yes.
Justice Nichols.
Yes.
Any more further discussion before we vote to adopt? Justice White. Justice Reed.
Yes.
Justice Hutchins.
Yes.
Justice Shipman.
Yes.
Justice Reagan. Yes. Justice McCullough.
Yes.
Justice Scrimmon.
Yes.
Justice Nichols.
Yes.
Justice Van Kuren.
Yes.
So physically, you're going to appoint your person. Appoint your person.
Wait, we have one for $3,200.
No, no, we haven't.
Oh, that's part of the package. Kind of wants to know about, got it.
You need to. You need to. Appoint your person to the Ray Valley Fire. Did you not?
Yeah, we're skipping the presentation by the call and by Lindy Wise.
Not to Ray, I am thinking.
Thank you.
Sorry. Was not the original. I.
Okay.
Is something else?
Resolution.
A resolution.
First station.
So go with my appointments first, then. I got two. I wasn't making appointments after the call and after Wendy Weiss, I can do beforehand. All right. Dan Amato has been appointed to the Ray Valley Fire Department Board in place of outgoing member Stephen Dove. And his term will be 5 years on the 31st of 2027. And then we had a resignation from the library board. Carl and me Jr. resigned. And they decided that they wanted Peggy Pinkowski to accept his appointment and finish out his term, which will go to December 31st, 2025.
Do we not have to vote on those appointments? With a yay or a nay?
It's just to ratify, so yes, do I have a motion? Let's go back to the Dan Amato. Do I have a motion on Dan Amato?
Let's just do them all. Can we do them all together?
Do them all together?
I don't know, maybe somebody doesn't want.
Well, I'm saying, it says both say ratify, so let's do them separately.
I think it is separate.
Let's do a motion on Dan Amato.
Okay.
We'll make them.
Second, any discussion? Good. All those four? Yes, Dan, he came in office and he stepped up and he, said he'd love to do it for 5 years.
You good guy?
Seemed like a good guy, and I don't think he got a lot standing in line, but we'll be part of the board. All those four? Against? Congratulations, Mr. Amato. And then Carl B. Jr. again resigned, and the rest of the board chose for Peggy Pinkowski, and she accepted the appointment, should have passed here, to finish out his term, which goes to December 31st, 2025. Do you have a motion? Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I don't know who that is either. Is that who we want?
No,
Is it up to them or is it up to us?
We
threw another name out to be for the library board, and I don't know that she was considered. Now, I also know, yes, but I also know Peggy, and she's been on the board before, and she's excellent.
Okay.
But I don't like the steamrolling. That, here's who. So I'm a name.
Did the lady that was she interested, the lady you?
But I mean, I don't even know that the librarian interviewed her or even called her or anything like that. So.
Genuine question.
Yeah.
Do they typically select their board members?
They let me know who's interested, and then they give you their front runner,
because I am not an active member of the board. And if somebody wants to be again part of the library board, I think if they're interested in doing it and want to sign up for years, but that's who works with them best.
Okay, and I don't mean to come off argumentative. It's your appointment.
Correct.
Were you interested in seeing who the lady that you mentioned the name
I
was?
mentioned it to, Ms. Baby Scout as one to.
Correct, but, I mean, but you're the person appointing the
Correct, sir.
member.
Yes.
So you're good with the library board picking the member?
I'm good with the majority library board letting you know that they'd like to be a part of the library board.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And right now they want Peggy Pinkowski to finish out Mr. Carl McGee's term December 31st, 2025.
But not to be argumentative, but also there's someone else that would like to be considered. And I'm not really interested in the board picking their member. I'm more interested in us picking their member. If we're the ones voting. See what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I'm also gonna vote no. I want to see the other lady too. Library board can get you in trouble.
If you want, I can, you know.
It's important.
Yeah, she married herself there.
Would you take the vote on this one, Don,
You're
by
wonderful.
individual and not by a name?
Wonderful.
Would you do vote as this individual, not by a name?
Say that one more time.
Would you take
And she's been
the
on
by
there.
individual?
Yes, I'm gonna vote.
Please.
She just went off, and that's who, Alicia Owens was replaced.
Oh,
So she's coming back on the board.
Just a further discussion. Sometimes the minority of the board may have someone in mind that should be listened to too. And if we're going to respect the rights of the minority, we should hear everybody.
I think everybody deserves an interview.
Not often you get to pick it between two.
Good choice.
Yeah, we got a choice here. That's not meant for us.
Justice Scrivener?
I'm gonna abstain. Because I don't know the people, I don't know the board, and I certainly do not want to appear to be against the board or for the person. So I'm gonna abstain.
Justice Nichols?
Same.
Justice Van Curran?
No.
Justice White?
Well, stand with me.
Justice Green?
Yes.
Justice Hutching?
Abstain.
Justice Shipman?
Yes.
Justice Brigham?
No,
Justice McCullough?
You know, I'm going to abstain in the context of your
Yes, sir.
I would be interested in in an interview before I voted, since we have the choice between the two. Is that something that could happen where we would get set down?
Right here?
Well, I think maybe in private might be better. I don't know. I mean, last time we did an interview in private.
I don't know that we need to interview, but I think at least the judge should interview them. I mean, I know both of them.
I would like to meet both of them.
So you would like to interview?
I wouldn't like to per se interview them, but like, for example, whenever the comptroller position or no, the collector's position was open,
Yes.
we only had, well, at the time it was collector. We only had one person that wanted it, and we still sat down with the table and made sure that our values aligned before we appointed him. And the fire department one, I'm sure if he wants to go in the fire department, he's probably all about putting out fire. So I trust that one. But maybe, like all this stuff going on with the federal government about the books that kids are reading and stuff, maybe we should, maybe we should say, hey, what are you about? That's my thought.
Well, I will reach out to Ms. Dana Scott, and then I will simply mail to you all, and we'll set something up.
Appreciate it.
All right. Yes.
And then come to the things that we're not in.
Presentation by the call.
Good evening, everyone. We survived.
Thank you for joining us.
Invite you to a party. You can take a gift. At the call, we really care about the kids in Marion. We work really hard to recruit, train, equip foster families. In Marion County, there are currently 17 kids from Marion County in foster care. Only 4 of them are in foster homes in Marion County because we need foster homes to open up. Now, part of that is also because
some of those homes have kids from out of county. But the reality is we have 17 kids, and even if all of our homes are filled to max capacity, we only have 16 beds. That means we overwork our foster parents. They never get a break. We exhaust them, we burn them out. And you might say 17, 16, not a big difference. But when you're that 9-year-old little boy crying yourself to sleep every night because you're 2 counties away from your siblings who always tuck you in, all of a sudden, that's the bad end of the statistic. So on April 21st, at the Elms Barn in Flippin, we are going to have a party. It's going to be, we're going to have a food truck, we're going to have a silent auction, we're going to have music, we're going to have testimonies from real people in our county who are foster parents. And the idea is to just try to get the word out to encourage people to get involved. So I have flyers. I just want anyone, I have been everywhere the county will let me come and just announcing to people, please come. The kids in our county need us. They need us to open our homes. It's hard, and I tell people this all the time. Foster care is hard. Hard does not mean impossible. And the call is here to help, whether that's bunk beds, a freezer meal. We want to support our foster families. So thank you for your time. I know it's definitely precious. And if you'd like a flyer, come see me afterwards. We're on Facebook. Just please pass the word, get involved. April 21st. The food truck will be there at 5 o'clock. The service will start at 6. And what's your name? My name is Cara Hurley, C-A-R-A.
Thank you very much.
Judge, can I make a comment?
Yes, sir.
I would just like to add to what these fine people have said about the food closet. And what she just said, I'd like to point out, for example, that there is a backpack program at the high schools. There are people out there that are hungry. We've got people that walk past my house that are hungry. You know, I've given them food. I've given them dog food for their dogs. So I would just ask that you please, if you have the opportunity to volunteer, to donate, or to do something, and I think, and I'm all about being good stewards of tax dollars, you know, and he knows me, he knows where I'm coming from on that. But we've got to help people in our community that are not as well off as we are. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, next I have Wendy Wise.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The change needs to happen, and I need help to help be a part of that change. This is for you. I have one for you, sir. I do not believe in not being able to back up what I do. If I was to take this $20 bill, which is brand new, put tears in it, it's still gonna spend like a $20 bill because it hasn't lost its value. I can wad it up. It will still spend like a $20 bill because it has not lost its value. I can make a scribble on it. It is still going to spend because it has not lost its value. A lot of the inmates, they look at the damage they've done to themselves, or perhaps they're in this dysfunctional cycle they don't know how to break, and there's a lot of damage from others. And it goes back to, we don't see ourselves through the eyes of God. And if we could see ourselves through the eyes of God, the difference we could make within ourselves and those around us. I need permission to get these into the detention center. Because it's not like in today's time, you can just go up and say, yeah, this is for the inmates. I'm not going to supply every inmate with one, if given permission. I do have 3 here. The book is already in Ouachita River Unit for an inmate, has stated that it is being passed around and it's needed. Sometimes we just need someone to step up. And it's coming from someone who has not been sent to prison because of it, not get caught from my crimes when I was younger. They need the encouragement to help see themselves through a different set of eyes. Thank you.
Wait, what is the book? Yeah, what's in the book?
It's about seeing ourselves through the eyes of God. And there's lots of room for notes where they can pass it on to the next inmate. Some county jails, you know, you can contact the chaplain, and if they agree, you know, then they'll help you get it in. But I need help with this project, with this book. I believe in it that firmly. And there are other inmates in the state that believe in it this firmly.
Is it short stories of other inmates?
No.
Or is it
It is
scripture?
about, despite your childhood, you know, you still have the value of serving.
The book does a lot with how I can look at myself and make myself better.
Yes, it is a two-part book. It is about, despite what you've done, who you are, you know, in the past, have been in the past, you did not lose your value. And then it's about what are you going to do to make the change in your life.
Thank you. Thank you
So
very much.
if passed, I would like these to go into the detention center.
It's gonna be, I'm gonna share about it here.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Share pictures.
It started by you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm happy to report it to sheriff. And, you know, if you will, yeah, really, it should be 304. Double check.
Yes, with your approve of it, I do have more. I am willing to eat the cost. I'm joking.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Potts.
Right, now, we come to the portion of the meeting where I wrote a letter. These two things came in after the deadline of what I found out happened. So it is ultimately up to the court whether or not they are going to address them this evening.
You got another copy of it? Well, I have a question about it. We have the rules that we passed that it requires 3 sponsors. Do these have 3 sponsors? I don't have a copy of them. Mine are all shuffled together.
No.
Am I giving him the right
Is it
then?
the resolution that we're looking
Well, it says sponsored budget. That one does. So that must have been. Not this way for them. Yeah. Well, that one says budget, you know, I assume if the budget committee did it, then it would have been their package. It wasn't in the packet.
I think I forgot to send it today. The other stuff.
$3,200 for, says that it went through the committee, to, transfer fund, pays off where they did the office. This is, so it's $3,200 at the treasurer's office, paid for software. And the other one is, software training. Software training. The other one is credit number 187.
We do this.
Correct, yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
So it went through budget committee, but it didn't get put in the packet. And then this one,
And the other one's from the treasurer's office.
it just got put in late.
I don't have it.
The training.
I mean, I'd like to make a point. We passed the ordinance last month that this stuff has to be to me by 3:30 Tuesday afternoon. I get out of the office at like 4:20 to get it ready. If you go ahead, and I'm not trying to take credit from anybody, that would be great. But if you go ahead and pass it, it doesn't defeats the purpose of the.
Yes,
I'm
second.
sorry, I don't want to be in trouble.
We have a motion on the floor to adjourn.
I would you, second.
All is for? Adjourn.